pro-life, pro-choice? Go down to the list of pro and con, or pro and anti, however it would fall down. Choice, abortion, where do you sit on that?
Absolutely on that one. It's not something that I could or would do myself, but I respect the right of every woman to make that decision for herself.
What's your preference in the Democratic presidential race, Clinton or Obama?
I'll support either Democratic candidate.
Can we ask who you voted for in the primary?
I voted for the candidate that I thought would serve us as well as anyone, and I'm confident in my vote.
But you don't want to tell us who that was?
No.
Why not?
Because I'll support either. I think either would serve us well, and I would be honored to serve with either in light of the fact that they both have Illinois roots.
When was the last time there was a Democrat in Congress from the Peoria area? I can't remember. And what makes you think that the district is finally going to go blue?
1917 is the short answer to that. 1917. 1917. And what makes me think that that can change this time? Is that your question? I may reference this, I'm not sure. What makes me think that this is achievable? One, I think it's achievable, or I wouldn't be standing before you right now. I grew up in Iroquois County, which is heavily Republican, growing up with a mom and a dad who worked tirelessly to every now and then try and get a Democrat elected. And I remember my dad saying, "Come on, Colleen, let's get in the truck, we're going to Watseka." So we'd get in the truck and we'd go to Watseka, and we'd go to the bank and the hardware store and the businesses, and my dad would invite people to the Democratic fundraisers. And these were mostly Republicans, because if he'd relied on Democrats to come to those fundraisers, it would have been a very small crowd. So at the end of that event, he would thank everyone for coming, and he would say, "Thank you for listening to our candidates. And please remember that not any one party has a corner on all the good candidates." Now, I am going to reference this because this goes back to 1992, November 5th, 1992. And this is an article in the Watseka paper. The headline, "Fran Callahan All Smiles with Democrats Showing." An 84% turnout. The quote, "This is about putting the government back in the hands of the people. They're the ones who pay the bill." Another quote, "This is about good government, whatever the party." Quote, "The victory of his candidates, my dad's candidates, required a large crossover vote. I think this is noticeable in all the states," my dad said. "People are voting for the best qualified candidates. In the national elections," Callahan said, "people voted not for party, but for their pocketbooks. Timing of the economy had a lot to do with this." Does it sound as if history may be repeating itself? I think it does, and I hope it will.
If I could reframe Ben's question, how are you going to succeed where 90-some years worth of Democrats haven't, and also where Tom Morris and Jim McConaughey didn't last month?
Different race, different candidates. This is a new horse race now. That was a prelim, if you will. That was a heat. This is if you follow horse races, the Kentucky Derby has a lot of heats that lead up to it. The race is on now. And what makes me think that I can defeat a young man who got 70-some% of the vote? It was 70-some% of a pretty small turnout. And my encouragement comes from the crossing of party lines. Those who, I repeat, have called offering help and assistance in whatever way they may be of help. And I'm encouraged by the number of people who say it's time.
Do you think age and experience will play into your campaign at all? Shock being, I think, 28 years old, 26 years old, excuse me, and you being
Older?
I'm just curious if you think that will be...
He's 26, I'm 57. Clearly he has the edge in youth. Youth and youthful enthusiasm are to be admired. Enthusiasm ripened with wisdom, I hope, will be respected.
Are you counting on a huge surge from the people who are absolutely infatuated with Barack Obama. From indications that we see, and we saw this in the Bill Foster special lecture of the weekend, more people are coming out. They're expecting a huge turnout come November. Is that already factored in to the campaign plan from here on out? That you know there are going to be people coming out, and people who may not have voted D before are going to do it this year?
Clearly, that is a factor of consideration, but you can't ever count on anyone else other than yourself. And so while that seems to be the lay of the land, and you would hope that that would work to your advantage, to think that you could rely on that would be foolhardy. Yes, that will be helpful. But if we don't work hard, and we don't raise the money, and we don't talk the issues, and we don't reach out to people, then shame on us.
You said, what, $1 million, $1.5 million?
$1.5 to $2 million.
How much do you have now?
First reporting period ends March 31st, and then the announcement of that, I believe, is April 15th.
Do you have to raise all $1 million, $1.5 million, or do you?
By then, no.
We better go.
Or you're starting up 100,000, up $500,000. Do you have to start from zero?
I was officially selected last Thursday. Yeah, we start from the ground up.
Why do you say on the war of Iraq that this is the time to bring the troops home, and we still have troops in Korea, we have troops in Germany, we have troops in Bosnia, we're apparently winning in Iraq? Why would this be the time? Why not leave them in there? Korea took a long time before its government was stabilized.
Two questions back to you. How do you define we're winning in Iraq?
I'll ask the questions.
Okay, all right. And you answered mine.
But I think that would be an issue, wouldn't it be?
When I say it's time to come home, we clearly do have a presence in many areas around the world. That doesn't mean that we necessarily have to leave completely and leave bases that have been built or identify one as a base in that region. But it does mean that we begin on a timeline to bring our troops home. It doesn't necessarily have to mean, however, that we don't have a presence there as we do in Korea and Bosnia and the other locations that you mentioned around the world.